Today, Saturday, the 11th May of 2022, we are all joining here to the 36th sessions of Mindfulness for Beginners program. Joining with us today is from Nissarana Vanaya, is Venerable Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero. With my utmost respect, I would like to welcome Bhante to the program. Avasarai Bhante. I would also like to welcome all the participants joining through Zoom and the other media. The program actually has been structured into a few segments. The first segment being practice mindfulness under the guidance of the Bhante. Secondly, we hope to present the reflection reports or the reports of your mindfulness practice. If the time permits, and with the permission of Bhante, we would like to spare some time for verbal questions or statements on your practice. Finally, we have an opportunity to listen to the Dhamma talk, and that would support our practice. So let's move on to the first segment of today's session. I would like to call upon Bhante to kick off today's session with the guided mindfulness practice. Over to you, Bhante.
Hello, everybody. So today, another program we are connected here. So we will spend about 15-20 minutes for a mindful practice. So today it's a rainy day here. So I thought maybe we can do a practice somewhat related to rain. When these type of situations are there, how can we use them to our advantage? How can we use these situations to practice mindfulness? So today we will sit comfortably and we will try to be with the rain. We try to listen to the rain, the sound of the rain, and we will just be. So when you let go of yourself, when you just be with the sounds that you hear, then you can feel that you yourself becomes the rain. So that's the idea for today. So I invite all of you to sit comfortably, make yourself comfortable, and when you have that comfort, you can close your eyes. And we are not going to do anything special. Instead, we will just listen to the sound of the rain, and we will just try to be with it for a few minutes. So you are seated comfortably. You have your eyes closed. And when we hear the sound of the rain, we will just be with it. We will just listen to it for a few minutes. Okay, now you can open your eyes again. So that's just a few minutes of listening mindfully to the sound of the rain. And you can try this on your own. When you have such situations, when you can't go outside, just sit for a while and just be with the rain. See how it is making these different sounds, how you just, feel the rain inside you. Sometimes you feel the temperature difference, sometimes you feel the wind and you hear sound of the wind. So all these things are there. And when we just let go ourselves and relax, we just become the nature and we can just be. And when you do that, you feel relaxed after a while. Only a few minutes of this practice, it can make you relaxed and peaceful. So that's the practicing part for today. And Nadeep, you can go forward.
Thank you very much for the wonderful experience, Bhante. It took me my memory back to the days I spent my time at Nissarana two times.
Yes, pouring down, right?
Yeah, actually, it took me to the small lake down the mountain, the other side of the monastery.
Yeah, the pond.
Yeah,
that's there. And the leeches, you can't forget that part as well.
Yeah, I know. I remember you were teasing me when I pulled the leech out. 1 second. I forgot my glasses. Okay. Let's move to the next segment of today's program, which is a presentation of the reflection reports that we have received. And also, after that, I will run through the beginner's guide. To present the reports today, I would like to invite Sonali to present today's reflection reports. Thank you, Sonali.
Thank you, Madhika. Avasarai Bhante. There is only one report for today. It's from an adult. I'll start with them. Mindful sitting, 45 minutes. Sat on the cushion and adjusted the posture. During the quick body scan, a headache was noticed. Then there was hesitation about sitting mindfully and wanted to not practice today due to the headache. Noted the comical nature of this intention. Remembered a part of a recent Dhamma talk referring to the excuses that the mind can come up with to abandon practice at the drop of a hat. For example, can't practice today due to cold, wind, rain, headache, earache, or any climate change. Made a resolution to sit and just notice what is going on in the mind. Felt the heavier pressure of the lower back against the cushion. Noticed the breath soon after. The in-breath was cool and out-breath warmer. After a while, the attention has moved to the rising and falling of the stomach. Felt the tightness around the right shoulder, and on noticing this, the tightness relaxed a bit. As the relaxed feeling was experienced, noted that the mind prefers this ease and comfort compared to the feeling of tightness. Continued to sit mindfully, noticed the headache more prominently. Scanned the area of pain, but couldn't settle where it felt most. Sometimes it was at the top of the head, then around the right temple, again on the forehead. Noted the changing nature of location of the pain. Attention moved to the pressure around the legs, but couldn't feel the outline of them. Future planning appeared. Rising and falling of stomach noted, and it was more subtle now. Mindfulness during the day. Walked to the kitchen, noticed the coolness of the tiles on the soles of feet, picked up the dishes and pans to put away. felt the heaviness of the bigger dishes, and noticed that the muscles in the shoulders tightening while lifting these. Dishes felt smooth and pans felt cool on the palms and fingers. Handles of the cupboard door was firm, and on opening it, noted the fingers pressing against the handle harder to grip it and pull open the door. Heard the noise dishes made when placing them on top of each other. Mind drifted to few things that were planning for later in the day. And after a while, the attention returned to putting away the dishes. Noted that the action of lifting, moving, placing the dishes in the cupboard had continued, even though the mind had drifted to future planning. Bent down to put the pans in the floor cupboard and felt the strain on the lower back. Feeling of the initial coolness of tiles had now changed to being warmer underfoot. Venerable Bhante, I appreciate any feedback you have on this experience. That's the end of report.
Okay, so you can see how our mind is giving excuses not to practice, right? So even the rain that we were talking about, it could be one of them. It's a rainy day, so you don't want to practice. I have a headache, so I don't want to practice. I have some other problems, so I don't want to practice. So this is how it goes. You know, so many excuses are there. And one way or the other, you try to find it. That's how the mind works. But as a day-to-day part of your daily schedule, you try to practice, you try to do the mindful walking, you try to do the mindful sitting, and just make it a part of your daily life. Whatever happens, you reserve 1 hour, 45 minutes for the sitting, you reserve 1 hour, 45 minutes for the walking, and you do it. Some people, they measure their practice. Some people, they say, I feel calm, then I can practice. So when they sit, there should be calmness. And if it is there, then they like to practice. But if the mind is all over the place, if the body is aching, if they can't sit properly, or the environment is noisy, then it's not a good day for you to practice. That's how you think. But what I suggest is that whether there could be calm, you sit for 45 minutes, 1 hour. Whether the mind is all over the place, there's no tranquility, nothing. But still, you continue your sitting. 45 minutes, 1 hour, you do the regular sitting session. That's how you have to practice. Don't depend on these suggestions. Don't depend on these situations of the mind. Instead, you just be there. You just practice. You just sit for 1 hour. You just walk for 1 hour. That is how you have to do. Otherwise, we are accepting these opinions of our mind. And the very idea of the practice is to get rid of these opinions. But even in the practice, we are accepting that. That is how we go. You know, these things, they come in various forms. You just have to make sure that although these things are there, I continue my practice. That is how you get rid of these opinions, ideas, and try to be with the reality. So this is the way. Let the planning come. Let these opinions be there. You just continue your walking. You just continue your sitting. And you have to do this for some time. It won't give sudden results. You can't measure results within few days, few weeks. Instead, you continue your practice. Every day, 2 hours, I have given reserved for mindful walking and sitting. And you continue it for months. When you do that, you really feel the difference. You really feel how the practice is helping you. It takes time for you to see the results. Initially, so much resistance is there. Initially, it's like, difficult to get going. It's like pushing a vehicle. It's difficult to start, right? But little by little, it becomes easier and easier. So that's how it goes. So when you start practicing, it feels difficult. Sometimes you feel even detoxing symptoms appearing in your body. You sweat, you get heated up, all these things are there. So it's just a healing process that is undergoing. So after a few weeks, you feel fine. You feel relaxed. You feel recovered. That is how it goes. When you be present, when your mind is mindful, it is healing yourself. That's a healthy mind that we are talking about. So the healthy mind will result in a healthy body. And you can even feel that your body is becoming healthier. Initially, you might have to go some detoxing phase where you suffer a lot, where the body is heated up, sweating, but it goes away. You just have to continue. That's the most important part of the practice. Think about any skill that you have acquired, maybe playing a musical instrument. So initially it was difficult. You don't know even how to hold it. But with time, you get skilled, you become skillful. And with time, you can see that music is coming out. Beautiful music is coming out because you are training again and again, because you are practicing again and again, because you are doing that task again and again. So that's how you have to do. So in this practice also, there might be difficult situations, difficult periods, but you have to continue your practice and somehow do it. Somehow reserve the time that you are supposed to do the walking, that you're supposed to do the sitting. That's how you have to continue. And your way of practice is fine. You just have to continue this way. And let us know again one more time.
Thanks, Bhante. We have received another report via email. I will read that now. Walking. Walked up and down in the backyard on a sunny morning. Noticed there were thoughts at the beginning and gave attention to them. While walking, mind did its own chattering as usual, and all of a sudden it came back to the sole of the foot. Walked naturally according to its rhythm for some time. Mind dispersed again to a sound and watched how long it took to come back to the walking posture. Not giving undue attention, it was easy to bring it back to the walking track. Sitting. After a good 30-minute walk, I sat for a sitting practice. Noticed that the upper body was relaxed and some awareness was on the posture. The upper body dropped gradually down and it lifted on its own. There was a subtle breath there, and this body movement continued for some time. Special attention was paid to these inner body sensations, subtle shaking inner body experience. Since I used to feel sleepy in the last few sitting sessions, straight after starting in a little time, managed to continue the sitting practice for 45 minutes attentively. There was a little satisfaction after the practice since one session had been saved without falling to sleep. General mindfulness. Trying to practice mindfulness, especially in the morning time, while doing general day-to-day tasks. Mostly mindfulness can be established at the end of the task and continue for a few moments after. Thanks. Much merit to Bhante. End of report.
Okay, so when you practice, you can see how the mind is wandering. And initially you try to stop it. That's how usually you try to practice. You try to stop it. You try to bring it back to the body. That's how you do. But when you become more and more experienced in the practice, you can see that if you stay for a while, if you stay mindful, then you can see the mind is naturally coming back to your feet. It is returning naturally. So that if you see that, then it's a good progress in your practice. Because earlier you tried to control so much. You tried to interfere too much. But now you know the natural process and you can just be with it. So mind goes away, but it naturally comes back to the body. So that process is happening again and again. Although it comes back, it will go away again. That's how it goes. But this process is there and you can be mindful. Again and again you feel the body. Again and again it starts thinking. Again and again you hear sounds. Among all these things, you are mindful and you can spend some time. So that's the idea of the practice. And when you see that mind is naturally returning to the object, then it's a progress in your practice. So now you can allow the natural process to happen and try to be mindful among these things. So that's one of the points that I want to mention. Then the second one is sleepiness. So you feel sleepy. That's fine, but you try to continue your time, maybe 45 minutes, 1 hour. You try to practice the sitting session, and that's how you have to do. Even the earlier report, we mentioned something related. So the sleepiness could be there, but still you practice. After a few days, you feel that it goes away. Now I can stay alert. If you give up, then it's not the way. You stop due to the sleepiness, it's not the way. So in a way, we say it's okay to sleep in a sitting session, right? It's rather difficult to sleep in this posture. So it's okay to fall asleep. You are waking up, falling asleep, again waking up, falling asleep. That's how it goes. That's fine as long as you do the sitting session, the complete session, it's okay to fall asleep. After a while, you naturally wake up and you try to be mindful. So that's how it goes. Little by little, when your mind is becoming more and more sharpened, you feel that I can stay alert without sleepiness. You can stay alert. Although sometimes the sleepiness comes, still you are alert, you feel heavy in your eyes, now the sleepiness is there, but you are alert, and after a while it goes away, you become fresh again. So these moods, different emotions, they come and go. That's the nature of the world, and we just try to accept that. Usually we are fighting these things. When the sleepiness comes, I can't do. When a headache is there, I can't do. So you're fighting all these situations. Instead, in this practice, we try to accept it. We try to just be with it. We let the nature take control for a while. You fall asleep, you wake up. Again, you fall asleep, you wake up. With practice, you feel that you are becoming more and more alert. Even the walking, you feel various things. But with time, you can become more and more alert. Day-to-day practice also, you feel that you try to be mindful, but most of the time you are lost. But with practice, with time, you can develop this skill and you can be mindful. More and more situations, you can be mindful, and you can see that your body is naturally, the attention is naturally returning to the body. You are naturally mindful. You do activities. Earlier you are lost, totally lost. Now, once in a while, you feel your breath. Once in a while, you feel the pressure of your palm. Once in a while, you feel the pressure of your feet. So you see that you are naturally becoming more and more present. So that's the result of the practice. When you practice more and more, then you can see that your mind is naturally becoming more and more present. So that's the idea. Continue this way and continue to report us.
Thank you, Bhante. That's the end of reports. Next is to ask any questions. Would you like to raise your Zoom hand or type up the reports or questions so I can read it? Don't see any hands raised. It looks like maybe we don't have any questions today. Nadeep, would you like to take on from there then, if there's no questions? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sonali, and much appreciated Bhante's advice on our practice. Thank you so much, Bhante. Next, I would like to share the beginner's guide to mindfulness instruction sheet. And I will give a quick run through the guide and we'll share the screen now. Okay. So just to start with, Nissarana has produced 2 videos for the mindfulness, beginners for mindfulness. The first one being the mindful walking and the other one is mindful sitting. It is advised to watch the 2 videos initially and get yourself familiarized with the basic instruction. And also watching videos is no use, of course, without practice. So what is crucial is to start your practice. To start with, you may, it is advised that start the mindful walking because it is conducive to your subsequent mindful sitting. So to start with, you may do the 5 minutes mindful walking and then 5 minutes of mindful sitting, just to give yourself a very short time, and also increase your time gradually over the couple of days. And you can actually write your report once you complete your practice about 2 hours in a week or so time. We have Google form for you to submit the report and also the email. And also there are some instruction actually given by the Venerable Theros how to write your reports. It is beneficial to split your report into mindful walking, mindful sitting, and also please include your day-to-day activities, whether your mindfulness increase while you're doing the day-to-day activities as well, and how you write the report. So say to start the mindful walking, you might say mimicking yourself, I am right now being here, and just pay attention to your body. So, and what you feel and what you did, those are the most important thing, and your reaction and what you feel and how would you understand? Those are very important. And also the writing your report beneficial for both you and also for the other participant. And it is highly recommended that put your practice into a few words and share it with the audience and also the Bhante. And also you can, during the program, if you have any question, you can talk to the Bhante and present your question if you have any and get further advices. And also, if I scroll a little bit down, the program start 5:30 in Melbourne time and UK time 8:30 a.m. and 10 a.m. Sri Lanka time 1 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. every Saturday. Also shared here is the Zoom link and also the password for the meeting. That's the all about the mindfulness instruction for the practitioners. I would like the next segment is to listen to the Dhamma talk from the Bhante. That's the which benefits our practice and enhance our practice. So I would like to invite Bhante for the Dhamma talk. Over to you, Bhante.
Okay, everybody. So we will take some time to discuss a little bit about the practice. And today, I think we have enough time to discuss in detail. So let me tell you something. Now, happy people, usually they don't attain peace, right? So that's something that we hear in a lot of Dhamma discussions, Dhamma books, that where happy people, they are usually ignorance towards the practice, towards the truth, and they don't attain lasting peace, lasting happiness, right? So because they are lost in the temporary happiness, because they are lost in the world, they don't usually seek after peace in the world. They think that material things can do them good. And usually they spend probably their entire life going after these things. So that's why we say happy people, they don't attain peace. Instead, there should be some difficulties in your life. When you see these difficulties, when you face them, then you get the motivation, you get the need to find a lasting peace. So don't worry, because always we have these difficulties in our life. Most of the time we face these difficulties in our lives. So when you face these difficulties, when you see the trouble, when you see the friction in your day-to-day life, that's the motivation for you to practice. That's the motivation for you to seek after a lasting peace. So in a way, if you feel this difficulty, in a way, if you feel this friction in the world, in a way, if you feel like you need to find some lasting peace, then I would say that you are blessed. You are blessed to find peace in this world. You are blessed to search for peace in this world. So that's how it goes, you know. Everybody, if you ask them this question, if you ask, what was the turning point? Why did you start practicing? Then they will tell you some story, which is the basis I just told you. They have some kind of a turning point. They have some kind of few incidents that has happened in their life, and that made them practice. That created the motivation towards the practice. So in a way, they are blessed. They are blessed. They get this idea of the practice. They get this requirement for finding a lasting peace in their life. Otherwise, you are ignorant. You just enjoy the world till your last minute. You are just lost in the world till your last minute, and that won't do you any good. So if you feel this friction in the world, if you feel these situations, these people are troubling you, if you feel that life is too hard sometimes, then this practice is for you. This practice is the way for you to find a lasting peace in your life. I am not suggesting the outside situations will change, but inside, the situation will change. The troubles will be there outside. The troubling people will be there outside. The friction will be there outside. But inside, you will have more and more peace if you practice properly. So when you see this need, when you see this requirement for your practice, then you start practicing. Then you start, doing these mindful exercises again and again. So you reserve some time for walking mindfully. You reserve some time for sitting mindfully, and you try to continue that for some period. Every day, 10 to 15 minutes you sit, 10 to 15 minutes you walk, and gradually you can increase it. First week you practice for 10 minutes, and with next week you increase few minutes more, and probably within 1 or 2 months you can get up to a level where you can do walking for 30 minutes and sitting for 30 minutes. And within few months, you can increase it up to 1 hour or 45 minutes. At least if you can invest 2 hours per day for the formal practice, then it's a good investment in your life. It's a good investment for you to continue this practice and see the proper results. Maybe some of you might feel that it's too much to ask. If I reserve 2 hours in my daily life, then I won't have time to do this and that, you will tell. But it's a worthwhile investment that you are doing. And sometimes people come and ask me, where should I reduce? Where should I save my time? Probably you can save some time from your sleep. Because when you practice, it is naturally relaxing if you practice properly, and you can save some time from sleep. You don't need so much sleep if you practice formal meditation. So you can save some there. You can save some other time, probably TV time. Then you can reserve 2 hours per day easily. Then you can continue this practice. For a few months, if you continue this way, then you start to see real results in your life. And when you see the results, there's no doubt in your mind whether this is working or not. Instead, you feel that practice is helping me and it is reducing friction in my life. Although the situations are there, although the people are there, I don't feel so much troubled due to the practice. So that's how it goes. You can see the initial motivation is always friction. Initial motivation is troubles in this world. Initial motivation is that you feel that this life is too hard. So that's how we start. And with time, due to the practice, you see that it is helping me. So in a way, you have desire towards the practice. You have a motivation towards the practice. That motivation will drive you to start practicing. That very desire will drive you to, continue your practice. So in this, practice, we say desire is a bad thing. You want to get rid of it. That's the idea. But when you practice also, there should be some desire. There should be some motivation, at least a desire to attain peace, at least a desire to, practice. That should be there. That is how we start. So when you walk, you try to walk, really walk. You try to control your moves. You try to put steps according to your plan. You try to count. You try to do a lot of things. That's a desire that we are talking. That's the motivation we are talking. That's a good thing initially, because otherwise you won't practice. If you don't practice, then no results you will see. So in a way, this motivation towards the practice is necessary initially. This desire towards practice is necessary initially. But with time, if you give your experience, if you share your experience, and if you get proper advice, then you can see with time you are making progress. With time you are letting go more and more. Now there is no such desire as you used to have. Instead, you can feel that when you walk, when you sit, you are relaxed and allowing this natural process to happen more and more. So that is how we progress in the practice. Initially, you are controlling so much. Initially, you are trying so much. But with time, you see that although I practice, I'm not trying so much now. Although I continue my practice, it's not hard. Now the practice comes naturally to you. And that's a good progress in your practice. When you practice, you feel that I'm not trying so hard. I'm not trying too much. Instead, I feel that I am naturally mindful. So that is how it is evolving. Initially, you start with a lot of force. Initially, you start with a lot of desire. Initially, you start with a lot of motivation. But with time, you feel now it is naturally coming to me. The mindfulness is naturally coming to me. The practice is.
Avasrai Bhante, we lost the connection with Nissarana Vanaya. It seems so. We can't hear you, Bhante. It might be due to the power failure in Sri Lanka, so please bear with us. Bhante may join us anytime soon.
Nandi, can you hear me?
Yes, Bhante.
Yes, I got disconnected. Right. So that way we continue in our practice. And when we continue, you can see that due to the initial motivation, due to the initial desire, you have progressed in your practice. And with time, with the progress, you don't need that much of a desire. You don't have that much of a desire. Instead, you are naturally mindful. And the practice is naturally coming to you. And in a way, when you walk, you just walk. In a way, when you sit, you just sit. It's like you are sitting for the sake of sitting. You are walking for the sake of walking. And you are doing your day-to-day activities for the sake of doing them. And that's how you mature in your practice. That's how you progress in your practice. And when you progress, you can see real results in your day-to-day life. You can see how it is life-changing. This practice is truly life-changing. You can see how it is happening. You can feel yourself more and more. You are more present. You feel the world more and more. You feel the people that are around you more and more. Because you are present, because you are attentive. You know your emotions. When you're angry, you know that you're angry. When you're happy, you know that you're happy. When you're sad, you know you are sad. Earlier you were angry, but you didn't know. Earlier you were sad, you didn't know. Earlier your mind, there was no peace, but you didn't know. Now you are more and more aware. You see how these moods come and go, how these emotions come and go. Sometimes you're angry, sometimes you're sad, sometimes you're happy. and they are just temporary things. They come and go. And your mind is not moved so much due to these emotions. That's how the lasting peace will arise. Earlier, when the anger is there, your mind moves according to that anger. And you get carried away. But now the anger is there, but your mind is not moved according to that emotion. So in a way, when your mind is not waving here and there, when your mind is not moving here and there, that is the lasting peace that we are talking about. The various emotions, thoughts, incidents, people, they come and go, but you are not moved. You stay still. And these things, they go around, they come, they disappear, and they are not troubling you. That is how the lasting peace will arise. So even within few months of practice, you can really see how your mind is changing, how your response to these situations are changing. That is why we say, when you practice, you can feel that you are progressing. These various emotions, these things come and go, but you are peaceful. Various people come and tell you various things, but you are peaceful. Various situations will come, but you are peaceful. That peace arises inside, not outside. So sometimes people come and, praise you. Sometimes people come and, blame you. The worldly reaction is when you are praised, you feel happy. When somebody come and blame you, you feel sad, angry. But let's say when somebody come and praise you, you don't feel happy, you are still. And when somebody come and blame you, still, you are still. That type of a stillness we are talking about, and that helps. Otherwise, always your mood will change according to the surrounding, according to the people, according to the situations. Your happiness or your peace will depend on those things. Now, due to the practice, we have developed a situation where we are peaceful, we are still, not dependent on the situations or the people that surrounds you. So that's how the practice is helping. And that's how you can find a lasting peace in your life. So that's the progress that we are making in the practice. So I invite all of you to practice and see this for yourself. In a way, we are finding a middle path in this world. Not to this extreme or not to that extreme, instead a middle path. This middle path is this stillness that we are talking about. There could be happiness in one side, there could be sadness in one side, but we are standing in the middle. There could be anger in one side, there could be compassion in the other side, but we are still standing in the middle. That is the result of the practice. So, I have this habit of, teasing people. So I usually go and tell various things to them and create some kind of a confusion. So this person, he usually sits with a long face. So I always, when there's a long face, I go and tell, now, come on now, you can't be that sad. Smile and don't take life too seriously. So I'm teasing, right? Then when he is smiling, I go and tell, why are you smiling today? Why you feel so happy today? Like that, I'm always teasing. So standing this thing for a few weeks, few months, One day he came and asked, now when I am happy, you are telling this. And when I am sad, you are telling this. So how should I stay? What is the way that I should behave? He's asking. So that's the exact middle path that we are talking, right? That's the exact position that you have to stand. It's not towards that end or this end. Inside somewhere middle that we are talking about. This middle is without suffering. This middle is without friction. If you move towards one side, then of course you are moving towards suffering or the friction. So that's little by little with practice, you can really feel this, how the practice is helping you, how it is changing your life, how it is bringing some kind of a lasting peace into your mind. So I invite all of you to practice. I invite all of you to experience this in your mind. And today, I think that's enough for the talk. So you can practice for the coming week, and you can try and share your experience with the group. And when you share, you can get further advice. Also, others, they hear your report, they hear the advice given to you, and they are also learning. So you can share next week. I invite all of you to practice, and thank you for listening today.
Thank you very much, Bhante. Another brilliant talk mixed with a bit of humor. Just rejuvenate our soul as well. So as Bhante said, it is really important to find the peace and the happiness within ourselves. So it is within our control. So we can't seek the peace and happiness from the outside sources. Through the practice of mindfulness, we can find the peace inside ourselves without falling to either side of the extreme. So going through the middle path, we can definitely find the peace within ourselves. Thank you so much, Bhante. Do we have time to another few questions or anything, Bhante, regarding either from the Dhamma talk or the any other prior practice related question?
Okay, if we have any questions, we can take.
Yeah. I would like to request any participant, if you have any questions in terms of the Dhamma talk or your practice, I'll give you 30 seconds. Please raise your Zoom hand. Yes, Mr. Bandula Sosai, you can unmute yourself and present your question, please. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Bhante. First, I'm sorry I can't turn my video on. I've been badly sick. Bhante, there's one little question about the Dhamma talk. As Bhante said, the two extremes, just coming to the middle. My question is, Bhante, so we coming to the middle, is it the movement of the mind, it happens because of I? Is it you form a person, you grasp it and you are happy, or you as a person, you grasp it, you are sad. So what happened to the I when you come into the middle or middle path? Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, so when you have so much ego, usually further you are moved due to that, right? So imagine if you have a strong ego, let's say somebody come and tell you something, they blame you, then imagine what will happen. You get carried away due to that those words, and that's how it goes. You get carried away a lot. So you go to one extreme, you can say. And when somebody come and praise you, you feel so happy, you get lost in that emotion. So that's how it works, right? So you are deviated from the middle and you go towards one extreme. So the idea of the practice is to see how this process is happening again and again, to observe it again and again. And when you observe, you can feel how it is happening, and that very observation will help to reduce it. Usually we are ordering our mind, don't go to that extreme, don't go to this extreme. That's how we do. But it's not practical. Although you order, your mind won't stay in the middle. More you order, harder it will try to go to extremes. But instead, if you see this process, this flow of your mind, then you can feel, although the mind is moving towards these extremes, you are not getting carried away with it because of the mindfulness. When you practice mindfulness, it creates some kind of a distance between this process and yourself, the observer that we call, right? The process is there, the observer is there, there's some kind of separation. Otherwise, if you are not mindful, you get carried away with it. You react according to these things. If you are mindful, then you know that I feel this and I am the observer. That very observation will help you to reduce or distance yourself from this process, right? So that's the idea of the practice. You create this distance from the process that is happening, and that very distance will allow you to be peaceful. So when you practice, you can feel, although the happiness is there, I'm not so much attached to it. Although the sadness is there, I am not so much attached to it. Instead, I feel that it is there, but there's no real need to react to these situations. So that's how you progress. If you think about I, if you question about I, that's not the way to get rid of it. Instead, practice and see how this ego is acting, how it is happening again and again, how it is appearing again and again. You see that very observation will allow you to be peaceful. That very practice will allow you to be peaceful. So this general mindfulness while walking, sitting, or day-to-day life, that's the way. You can't just chase after ego. Instead, you are mindful. You just observe the process and you see more and more details. More you observe, more details you will see. That very seeing, observation will help you to get rid of this ego that is so strong, right? So that's the idea of the practice. Try to practice and see for yourself. Try to experience this for yourself. And when you experience, you can see that it is helping and it is not taking me towards those extremes. Still, there is a movement, but it is not so much as it used to be. It is reducing little by little. That's how it goes. That's how you progress.
Thank you very much, Bhante. It's a very good explanation. Thank you.
We have one more hand raised, Bhante. May I request the person to ask a question?
Yeah, thank you, Nadim, and thank you, Bhante, for that wonderful talk. It was really helpful. I was just wondering now, when Bhante explained about being mindful about everyday situations, and especially when you have in negative emotions and of anger and disappointment or sadness. Now, yeah, it's good not to react, but in order to get, the practice will help you. I can see that, but if you in that situation, how do you get the confidence to accept the situations and be in the situations with patience, to ride along with whatever emotion that you're going through, and not react? You need to have a certain strength, I presume, to accept it in the first place. Whatever, say, sometimes the emotion could be very strong and it won't just mindfully disappear. You have to ride along with it and be with it. So to eventually have a balanced mind, how does one gain that? Is it just have to sort of like ride along with it and then show the mind that, it'll change, and then do you eventually then, is that how you get a balanced mind, how to react? Yeah, does that make sense, Bande? So
Okay, that's a good question. Now you can see, although we talk, when we really go into our day-to-day life, then we really face these difficulties. It's not easy. It's troubling us and we tend to get carried away. That's how the practical situation is, when, although we like to react, we like to respond, not react. We like to face these situations with strength. When you go to the reality, when you go to the real situation, it is really difficult sometimes. So how to have this strength, how to acquire this strength, that is the idea of the practice. That is why I said earlier, now can you spend 45 minutes of mindful walking? Can you spend 45 minutes of mindful sitting? And can you do it regularly? That way, when you invest, that very investment will allow you to have this strength. Gradually, it will grow, right? So that's why every time when I say, I take this analogy of a musical instrument, or this analogy of running a marathon. You can't just go and run, right? If you do that, probably after some time you will drop dead because your body is not prepared for that. So in this practice also, similar things are there. We can take that analogy, when you go to your day-to-day life, when you face these difficult situations, it's like running a marathon. So sometimes it is natural that you fail. But even though you fail, you are not giving up. Instead, you practice again and again. You come back and you start training again. You do your homework. You spend your time with mindful walking. You spend your time with mindful sitting. And you try to be mindful in your day-to-day life as well. Then again, you go and run the marathon. Again, within few kilometers, you get tired, you stop. But again, you come home, you start practicing. So this very investment towards the practice is the way to develop this strength. So like how we are building muscles in our body, how we are building stamina in our body by repetitive exercise, we are doing the same thing with our mind. We are doing this exercise of mindful walking, mindful sitting, day-to-day mindfulness again and again, till you are able to face that fight. I'm not saying it is easy. I'm not saying the practice is easy. It's difficult. But what other option is there? We don't have any other option. So this is the only way. You have to develop yourself. Otherwise, you go with the world, you get carried away, you face even more and more difficulties. That's the other path you have. No practice and go with the world. And with time, you feel that you are too late, it's too late. And I feel so much difficulty in my mind. I feel that my mental health is deteriorated, can't do anything, can't survive, can't function. If you look to the society, you can see so many people like that. They can't even function because their mental health has deteriorated so much. They can't even do their day-to-day life. They can't do their work. They can't study because of this trouble. You know, you have to develop this ability little by little. It's not a trouble of within few days. You can't do it. You know, you have to do it again and again for weeks, for months, for years. Sometimes you do. And when you make that investment, you make progress. You can see, okay, today I could run few kilometers. And after probably few months, you can run more. That is how you are developing. And with time, you can feel that now I can finish the marathon. Now I have proper strength, proper stamina to finish the tedious activity. So that's how it goes. So the only thing you have to do is that spend your time with the walking, spend your time with the sitting, and invest, try to do day-to-day activities mindfully. That investment you have to do. And when you do that investment for weeks, for months, then you see that you are making progress. But another thing, another point I would like to add is that now even the investment, you have to make sure that you are investing properly. You can sit for 1 hour, you can walk for 1 hour, but how do you now know that you are practicing properly? That's the most valuable question. For that, you have to present your experience. You have to tell, this is how I am practicing. Okay, then you will get some advice. Then you have a verification that you are practicing properly. That investment should be proper. Otherwise, I have seen people, they are practicing for 15, 20 years, but still no progress. Still they feel that the practice is not making any changes, the real changes. Although it is helping temporary, it is not, there are no lasting changes. That's because maybe the investment is not proper. Investment is not accurate. So you have to make sure that investment is accurate. And with that investment, if you continue for few months, few years, then definitely you will see progress. You will see how we are facing these life situations with more and more strength.
Lovely. Thank you, Bhante. That's really motivational. I think, it's just that that effort. I think I really need to make more effort. I'm looking for a quick fix, I think. Yeah.
The investment and proper investment. I'm again saying investment, but the investment should be proper. Right? For that, you have to present your meditation experience and let's see how it goes. When you present, you have a verification that this is the right investment, or you have to make these adjustments and invest again. That's the feedback. That's the idea of a discussion. And when we have that, we have a verification. Now I'm investing properly and it's a right investment. And that right investment will help you. Otherwise, jokingly, some teachers, they are saying that even the chickens, they sit for long hours. They are not attaining any peace, right? So they are teasing people because they are not investing properly. Even my father used to say that one time I invited him to do a mindful walking something. And he said, when I was in the army, I was doing the walking mindfully. He's saying left, right, left, I was going. So what's the purpose of this practice? He's saying, so that's how the people look at this. But if you are investing properly, then you will see the real progress. So it matters a lot. Not only practice, but you are practicing correctly. That thing is important.
Thank you, Bhante. That's really wonderful. Is Nissarana accepting retreats? If I want to come along for a retreat, Bhante, if I may ask, at Nissarana, can I book myself in the future?
Yes, now I think it's been few months. We have started retreats, and there's this website, and you can go to that website, and there's a schedule, timetable, and you can see what will work with you. And on that website, you can find the information about the applications and contact people. You can find there.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bhante.
There were no hand raised, Bhante. I think we are reaching to the closure of our program, I assume. And I would like to pay my gratitude to Venerable Dhamma Kusala Thero for valuable time invested on us very productively, and also helping and for the excellent Dhamma talk and guiding us through the practice and helping us to continue our practice. And also, I would like to pass my sincere gratitude to the Chief Abbot of the Nissarana Vanaya Forest Monastery, Most Venerable Uduriyagama Dhammajiva Thero, and also all the monks residing at Nissarana Vanaya who is helping out spreading the word of mindfulness around the world, around every community. With that, I would like to, there are a few announcements. Please let me just post it on the chat section. Nissarana Vanaya continuously conducting Dhamma talk, retreats, and those are all available on Nissarana Vanaya websites, and also the YouTube channels and the social media. Yeah, those Dhamma talks and the video clips really benefit for the practitioners and also the beginners. Please take advantage of those Dhamma talks and share with the newcomers and the beginners, which immensely benefit to continue their practice without any hindrances and with some persistence. With that, I would like to conclude the session today, and thank you very much for all the participants and the hosts and also the organizers. Thank you so much, and have a mindful week, and would like to see you all back in next Saturday. Thank you so much.